Time now for Media Watch. James Creedon is here in the studio. Hello, James. How are you doing?
Evening. Very well, thank you.
Always good to see you with that big smile. Now then, we're starting with something that is not a smiling matter. It happened in Belgium, where a woman filmed the kind of daily insults that she had to face, sexual harassment basically, wasn't it? And she posted this online, the video went viral, and it led to, well, basically a change and some legislation to help her and similar people in similar circumstances not put up with this kind of nonsense that they have to face.
That's right, Mark. It made waves back in July, initially in Brussels and then across the French-speaking internet. Let's take a look at this video. It was shot by a young woman called Sophie Peters, and she called it Femme de Rue, or street woman, I suppose, or woman of the street. It basically showed her everyday life in a suburb of Brussels where she
So this is her walking around then, James, yeah?
This is her walking around with a hidden camera. Vous êtes belle, mademoiselle, you are very beautiful. Would you like a drink? Various kind of propositions like this that I suppose, depending on the tone, could be acceptable or unacceptable. I suppose it's whether or not they're welcome or, you know, you receive them. Now, some of them were quite vulgar, actually.
That was quite vulgar, and some of the
they're very vulgar words.
Well, the propositioning was very, very well,
insistent.
Hors jeu, as you could say, offside completely.
That's it. So look, the whole thing is it struck a chord. Let's take a look at the computer here, because what we saw in what followed that was a lot of chatter on Twitter and on the social media under the hashtag harcèlement de rue, or street harassment. And what we now see today, insulter en rue, to insult somebody in the street, you'll have to pay for it, pay cash. So what has happened?
So it's an on-the-spot fine.
Well, the idea is if a policeman catches you, you could have to pay up to €250 of a fine. If there is no policeman around to witness it, you would have to provide video footage or
I suppose it becomes
witnesses, etc.
Someone's word against someone else's word, doesn't it? Right. That becomes the legal issue, doesn't it, really?
And what's difficult is often these things happen in the street. They happen in just one moment and then it's over. And how are you going to actually pursue the person who
What that video clearly showed, though, was this kind of it almost looks like an endemic problem. I mean, sort of men treating women in an appalling way.
Well, what we saw back in July is it did tap into a certain sentiment in France, in Belgium in particular, where people did seem to feel that, you know, if you're wearing a summer skirt or something like that, that it shouldn't be carte blanche for all of these comments that people
I mean, that even went into the National Assembly here in Paris, didn't it? When Cécile Duflot, formerly of the Green Party, now part of the government, when she appeared wearing a summer frock, for want of a better expression, it was all woo!
Right, and it
from the male, you know,
press.
sort of assembly members.
Absolutely.
It was juvenile stuff, wasn't it?
It was. So I think a bit of a cultural kick up the beam end is kind of perhaps what is being done by videos like this.
People are going to find people attractive, so obviously the urge to say hello or something clearly is there, but it's a question of how you do it, and respect has to be the key word.
That's right. That's right. And I suppose what this video uncovered was insistent kind of behaviour. You could be getting it 10, 12 times a day in certain neighbourhoods, and that's, I suppose, not acceptable for most women.
Okay, well, well done to Miss Peters, if indeed that's what I should be saying. Should I say Ms instead? I'm not sure.
Miss, both.
Anyway, well done. And obviously the internet, they're changing things. What's next, sir?
All right, Valérie Trierweiler, the First Lady of France. Now, she kicked up a bit of a stink last month when photos of her appeared in 2 magazines in France in her summer outfit down in the south of France. Now, what happened was that, you know, that photo got around the web last August. She has now sued one of the magazines that published those photos, VST, for the sum of €2,000. She actually was awarded that sum of €2,000, which she's now going to pay to the organisation Reporters Without Borders. So a lot of people are saying, hold on a minute, you're a journalist, you're still on the staff of Paris Match, which is kind of a glossy magazine in France. You parade around, you know, in public, in summer holidays down on the beach. Of course you're going to be photographed. This is what one journalist said for the Nouvel Observateur. He said, could she have avoided these photos being taken? These photos in her bikini? Yes, she absolutely could have. So she was, I suppose it's the old argument, protection of your private life versus, you know.
It wasn't a telephoto lens, was it? They weren't like staking them out and hiding behind a tent or a bush or something. I mean, it was an open photograph taken on an open beach.
That's right. So
in a sense, because they're public figures, aren't they journalistically fair game?
Well, that's what a lot of people are saying on Twitter as well. Some people are saying, look, this is an infringement of you know, freedom of the press. Others, you know, are supporting, saying, look, you know, this is a relative scandal given the exhibitionist behaviour of Trierweiler. So there you go. It's a debate to be had, I suppose.
I think the relatively small fine maybe is the understated
Right.
comment on whether or
The
not her
attempt to
claim
strike
was
that middle
serious.
ground.
You know. Anyway, time for a small one before we go.
Right. This video has had 100 million hits on YouTube. South Korean video. I think let's just let the images speak for themselves.
오빤 강남스타일 강남스타일 선어해 점잖아 보이지만
Gotcha. Do you remember the Gotcha video that had 300 million hits? Well, there you go. That one is, I suppose it's pretty over the top stuff.
He dances like you, James.
Well, God, I hope I'm not that bad. And I always think it's interesting to when you listen to other languages and when it closely resembles English. And I'll just let people figure out themselves what that sounds like. I won't say, but you can Google it. PSY Gangnam Style. 100 million hits on YouTube.
By
for
the
a
time
South
I got a
Korean
fat
video.
100 million and one. James, thank you very much indeed. James Cruden with Media
Mark.
Watch. Thank you very much, sir. Good to see you.